With the 2025 season starting, it's time to start looking at the 2027 recruiting class. Who's on Bama's radar? Who'll be on campus this fall? Stick around. Let's talk about it. Everything you need to know. This is Way Offsides. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. It's your boy Cotton. Feeling a little bit better, still not 100%, so forgive me if I cough, sneeze, or vomit in this video. Hopefully there'll be no vomit. Thanks for sticking around. Welcome to Way Offsides, where we do everything everybody else does. It's a great place to get your Alabama information. We just do it a little different. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We try to have a good time. Please, before we even get started, Bama fans, the 2027 recruiting cycle is starting to pick up. If you follow us on social media, you see posts all the time about it. You're going to want to follow all of it as we go through. The 2026 cycle is not done. There's some surprises still coming as fall visits start to take place. We already know some. Some of the folks we're talking about today will be in Tuscaloosa this fall. You're not going to want to miss it. So do yourself a favor. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You may have to go into your phone and turn notifications on, but that way you'll never miss a thing. While you're there, leave a big roll tide in the comment section. Tell me where you're watching from. I want somebody from every state, all across the country, Way Offsides, nationwide, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk some recruiting. You guys absolutely love recruiting, so we're going to do that today. The 2026 class, like I said, is still coming together. Alabama's not done there. I think that Alabama does have some surprises in store in this class still. I think that there are some players that they're still prioritizing. They're not completely out of the race for that are committed elsewhere. Big one right off the bat that everybody talks about is Anthony Tank Jones, who recently committed to Oregon. I don't know how I feel about Alabama's chances of getting a flip there, just for the sense that Tank is an in-state guy, and a lot of people want to call him an NIL merchant, this and that. That's fine, assuming that he is taking a paycheck to go to Oregon. But it also tells me the fact that he's not staying in state is that he doesn't want to be in Alabama. Same thing with Naeem Alford last season. It sucks that Oregon's able to come in and get two of the top players out of the state of Alabama 2 years in a row. But what are you going to do about it? You know, these are kids. They're making one of the most important decisions of their life. And we're just going to tell you that, you know, I think that Alabama hasn't given up on Tank, but I personally would not get your hopes up about a flip. We'll see. It could absolutely happen. Going to have a sip of water here. My cup's green. Anyway, it could absolutely happen, but we'll see. But for right now, we're going to focus on the 2027 class because although Alabama's still fighting it out with some folks in the 2020 class, there's some folks in the 2027 class that we want to talk about and that we know will be visiting Tuscaloosa for game day experiences this fall. We know there's 2026 guys like Tristan Keys who likely will, but what about next year's class? Something you guys need to understand about Alabama recruiting right now compared to how it was under Nick Saban. Alabama understands that it can't outbid a lot of these schools. Alabama, Georgia is kind of the same way. Well, not really. But Alabama understands that they can't outbid some of these schools in Texas and out on the West Coast like USC and Oregon. And that's fine because Bama's approach is to build quality over quantity. Before we even started into the summer run that Bama went on, Courtney Morgan tweeted this out. And I imagine the same thing is going to apply in the 2027 class. Now, what does that mean? That means Alabama's not going to finish number one simply because they won't have 30-plus commits in their class. It's got nothing to do with the talent level. This class that they put together is I'm saying this not as an Alabama fan. It is the best overall class in this cycle right now. It is. The only reason Alabama's not sitting at number one is because they don't have 30-plus recruits or commitments. And so I imagine the same thing is going to happen in 2027. It's important in the long run to manage that because what's going to happen is a lot of kids that are joining these classes that have 30 plus verbal commits aren't going to end up playing at the school they're committing to, or even that they sign with. That's just the nature of it. There's not enough room. So use your NIL funds to bring in kids that you know want to be at Alabama. And if you've been watching social media, especially mine, you've seen comments from Jaira Edwards, Xavier Griffin, Jordan Edmonds about what the expectation is for them. Their expectation is a natty at Alabama while they're playing there. That's the mentality you want. So bring in 20 of those guys compared to 30 guys who are just chasing dollars. And the strategy, to me, seems like the right way to play the NIL game right now. Instead of mass stacking talent that's just going to leave, because no roster is going to be able to stack 4 and 5 stars like Alabama used to. That's just not the nature of the sport anymore. I feel like the way they're approaching it, that is exactly how they're finish in the top 10, probably the top 5, like they will here when they finish the 2026 class. But anyway, they won't be number 1 because they're just not going to have 30 plus commitments. And that is okay. It's not as important as it was 10 years ago. The game is changing. So is recruiting. Evolve with it or get off the train. You know what I mean? So starting to talk about some 2027 guys that will be in Tuscaloosa starting off this season. The first one is a big one right off the bat. And that is the number 1 quarterback in the class, 5-star quarterback, Elijah Haven out of Baton Rouge. Now, Haven has a lot of schools interested in his recruitment, obviously, being the number 1 quarterback in the class. The 6'4", 205 quarterback, out of Dunham School down there in Baton Rouge. He's got a lot of folks. Well, right now, Florida seems to be the big one for him. If Florida can go get this guy, what they've been doing is pretty wild. Now, a lot of that is going to change because obviously it is August of 2025 that we're recording this and talking about it. So a lot of things are going to change, but a lot of SEC schools are in the mix here. Of course, hometown hero LSU, his primary recruiter there is Joe Sloan. They're in the mix. Alabama is in the mix. Auburn's in the mix. Michigan. So we'll see how this goes. Now, Florida is one of these schools that's kind of being they're NIL primary school. We're seeing that with some of the stuff that they're doing right now in recruiting, and it's not a bad thing. A lot of recruits are wanting to go play there. Offensive recruits are wanting to go play there because of DJ Lagway, and we'll see how that winds up in the long run. The big thing here is looking at Alabama's need at quarterback. I don't know that Alabama's going to need a quarterback, assuming the Taden Kawa and the Jet Mala commitments hold up. I mean, Bama's going to have 3 guys right there, and that's assuming Austin Mack doesn't come back for another year, or even Ty Simpson doesn't come back for another year. You've got Keelan Russell, who's the future of the program. A lot of kids are wanting to play with them. So Elijah Haven will be interesting to watch. He will be on campus for a visit during a game this fall. So it'll just be something interesting to watch there. I don't like Alabama's chances today, but a lot of things could shift, turn, and pivot, as is the norm with recruiting. Right behind him, you've got Jabarius Garoor. For those of you who haven't seen it, Jabarius is a hard Alabama commit right now. He was actually on the show. We did a recording with him a few weeks ago. Super impressive young man out of Mobile, Alabama. Jabarius, he's out of Iger High School. He is the number 64 ranked player. I think he's like the number 7 edge, something like that. This is the guy that probably he's a 4-star right now, but will likely be a 5-star and move up before it's over with. Super long edge. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. Really impressive young man. We had him on the show. Obviously, Auburn's involved in this, Florida State, Kentucky, Ohio State. But he right now is hard committed to Bama. He said in his interview with us, I'm going to go on visits to other places, but it's Bama. And I mean, Jabor really, I feel like it's always nerve-wracking when a recruit commits so early, but Jabarius, could be one of those rare ones that sticks it out till the end. He's high on Bama, grew up in Bama. To him, Bama is home. So that's somebody that I want you guys to watch his recruitment as we continue. I mean, he's been committed to Bama for over a year now. So it's Bama or bust for Jabarius, right now. Now, another really interesting player that will be on campus for a fall game is 2027 wide receiver, the number 2 wide receiver in the class, Monshawn Sells. I did a full video on Sells the 6'5", 195-pound wide receiver out of Indianapolis. This kid is legit. This is a must-have for Alabama. Bama's going to battle it out with several schools for him, including, I think, Ohio State is going to be involved in this one. I want you guys to really, when you get done here, go over to YouTube and just watch some of this guy's film. It's pretty impressive. He's a very dynamic guy. He's big body, he's 6'4". He's quick, obviously, as you have to be as a wide receiver. He's very balanced, but he does have that top gear. It reminds me a lot of a Calvin Ridley type guy. And so go over and watch him. He'll be there. I think he'll be in Tuscaloosa for the LSU game, if I remember correctly. Maybe the Tennessee game. But that fall window is going to be important, not just for the 2027 class, but for a lot of the 2026 class. I think what Alabama is able to do offensively this year will turn a lot of heads in the recruiting world, just because folks are going to see a very dynamic, fast-paced NFL-style offense that will be very attractive to them, especially at the wide receiver position. Folks know Alabama's history at wide receiver. They know Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb's history at wide receiver. You get a quarterback in there that can really make it hum, then you're looking at something pretty amazing. I think, personally, that's just me. Tell me what you think below. Now, lastly, somebody that I want you guys to watch going into this season is wide receiver Jahide Brown. Now, he is a under-the-radar guy. I say 4-star. That's just based off of my eyes. If you look him up on 247, something like that, it's not really a lot of stars involved. But this is one of those guys that Alabama is kind of doing talent evaluation on. He's a smaller guy, 5'10", 175 pounds. He's out of Kentucky, out of Christian Academy of Louisville. He's got some D1 offers, but they're all coming from schools like Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, Indiana, Bowling Green. But Alabama has shown success in the past by going and getting guys out of Bowling Green or other places like that. And then I think with Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb putting their minds together, that hive mind mentality, their ability to evaluate talent for somebody like this is pretty good. He'll be on campus as well this fall. So there you have it. Those are 4 guys right off the bat I want you to keep an eye on as we go through the fall in terms of visiting Alabama, how that impacts their recruitment, how that impacts their RPMs, where they're currently favored to land. I think Alabama's class will grow surmountably throughout the fall. Obviously, we got a long way to go until the 2027 class signs. So take everything with a grain of salt. Thanks for sticking around with me. You guys are absolutely the best. Love you. Please subscribe down below. Also, Kangaroo Black, a big friend of ours, had some issues with his channel, had to kickstart a new one. So please go over there, give him a sub when you're done here. As always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands. Thanks for all the prayers. Beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Horns down, roll tide.